Models That Eat. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Phoebe Joseph. You can call me Pojo. And today we have a very, very special guest. Before we get into talking about that special guest, I want to play a little game with you all. Put a finger down if you got on the gram one day and were attacked by constant content about what I eat in a day, diet culture, skinny talk, all the nines, all of the toxic things that we are essentially force-fed online. And you couldn't do anything but wonder, is any of this going to affect my mental health? Yes. Okay, same. There's a group consensus in the room. I am not attacked by that constantly. But the good thing is, in an echo chamber of chaos, we do have some role models to combat this very toxic narrative that seems like as women, we are pretty much bound to be consuming online. Today, I'm joined by a really, really, really special guest. She's somebody that's changed my personal relationship with my body forever. She was also raised in the modeling industry, much like myself. She's also a Nike trainer, which is no small feat, you guys. That's a really big deal. And I have to say, as soon as we met, I knew she was in my life for a reason. She is really here to combat all of the narratives we are taught about women's health and fitness. And I really hope she can impact you in a positive way. Lexa Henwood, welcome to Models That Eat.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. No, you're so beautiful and wonderful. And
God,
I mean, we obviously are very close friends.
Absolutely.
And I'm just really, really happy to have you on the show. You were like one of the first people I knew I wanted to have on. So thank you so much for coming on.
It's such an honor, seriously.
Oh
like everything you do and like your story, everything. I've just like been so in line with you since day one, and I just couldn't be more like excited and honored to be here. Seriously.
Thank you.
So,
well, speaking of day one, it's kind of funny because when we had connected earlier this year, we both anticipated that was the first time we had met.
Honestly,
which I have to tell that story really quickly, you guys. So, back in April, I was on Instagram asking people for trainer recommendations. Good friend of mine, Morgan, said you have to reach out to this girl, Lexa, and I'm like, who is she? I saw a giraffe in the bio, and I was like, preaching to the choir, okay.
Twins.
And we were both like, wait, this is so weird. We must have crossed paths modeling in New York. What a small world. And then a few weeks ago, you sent me this photo and you text me at like 10 at night and she's like, yo, is this you? It was a photo of us at Alice and Olivia, like a show. Was it 2016?
I think it was like 2016.
That is like 9 years ago in the same exact presentation during Fashion Week, standing this far from each other. And we clearly had spoken that whole time. I remember that day so vividly.
Likewise.
So crazy.
It was the funniest thing. I was on a plane home and I was looking through photos, and on the plane to Pittsburgh, started like having a breakdown. Like I was like jumping and like shuffling around in my chair, and my person next to me was like, what is going on? And I was like, you don't understand.
Don't get it.
You don't get the freak out I'm going through right now.
No, it was like all the like, everything was clicking. It was all clicking finally. And what a crazy time, because I remember that day like yesterday. Like we were babies. 16?
16.
Wow.
It's crazy to look back now and like see how far we've come to.
Was that your first Fashion Week? I think that was my first Fashion Week.
I think that was my second.
Second, yeah.
I was like, because I'd done one other show with them before that. And so I think that was my second Fashion Week. Yeah.
So cool.
So wild.
Oh, well, the universe brought us back together.
For a reason.
I'm very grateful for that. Today, we are also joined by some of your favorite snacks.
True.
So Coca-Cola in the glass bottle, obviously a win is a win.
Hands down the best.
Yeah, I have to have. Cheers, by the way. I think something most people don't get from their relationship with their trainer is you always motivate me to try new snacks. Speaking of, you put me on to the Albanese gummy bears, which I need to give you credit where it's due, because these, I've probably had like 20 bags since I met you.
Game changer.
So good. What's your favorite flavor?
Ooh, I would say, I'm a basic. I'm like red or blue. And that's hilarious because like they're all, you ask anyone and I feel like they say red or blue, but they're just the best flavors.
Look at all the greens I just got. Oh my God.
Greens are,
Here, I'll give you the token, right?
Thank you. Stop it. This feels so special.
Cheers.
Cheers. I will say it's funny because I know that like I'm such a foodie and I just have always been. It's like I feel like I grew up that way too. So it's like organically I just start sharing what I love, and I feel so bad sometimes because I know not everyone loves like snacks like I do, but I'm like, hey, I need to share this because this is my new obsession.
Well, like I walk into Motive, which is where you train, and I am getting ready for a session and you're like eating a bag of gummy bears, and I love it. And I can imagine too, you have people coming in that may be new like clients that don't expect that from you, because there is this idea in the fitness space, especially a serious fitness space, like you're a legit trainer, that you'd walk in and kind of get this entire like presentation on like fundamentals of fitness and nutrition that might not align with a bag of gummy bears. But like, I think it's really important that you are kind of creating this narrative around food that isn't so like hard, like, rough around the edges. Like, you need to eat this way. Like,
Absolutely.
obviously people have snacks. They love snacks. Like, enjoy your snacks.
And that I think is something that I myself, like, I still navigate that. It's like there's so many different things and narratives around food. And it's my biggest thing I tell everyone and even myself is like, I want to make sure that I'm able to live and enjoy the things that I love. And that doesn't mean that like I, as much as I would like to, have a Coca-Cola every day or multiple a day. It's like I do it, and you have to do it in moderation, but it's like I still want to be able to say that I can enjoy these things. And that shouldn't, like, my lifestyle should reflect that I can enjoy them and still then like take care of my body in other ways.
100%.
So
I love that. Oh, we have so much to talk about today.
I'm so excited.
We could go for hours and hours and hours, but I'm really pumped to share your story with everybody and excited to touch on, fitness, diet culture, everything with you.
Absolutely.
And your past in modeling, because it all just wraps right in together with a beautiful bow. So
let's bring it on.
Oh, wait, we got to talk about Miss Vicky's too. What's the vibe here? I actually have never had Miss
Have
Vicky's.
you never?
No.
Okay, well, do you like spicy?
I love spicy.
Okay. So like these, if I do say so, I think they're the best jalapeno chips on the market. Jalapeno seasoning, like for a good, consistent jalapeno taste, you can't find it very often. Like I feel like sometimes there's some brands that you'll see that like are good jalapeno chips, but for the most part, they're either too salty or they don't have enough of the jalapeno flavoring. It's just like my mouth is on fire. It doesn't actually like taste like anything. So Miss Vicky's. And honestly, New York is the one that introduced me to them. It was at a Just Salad that I used to go to every single day during Fashion Week.
Yo, shout out that singular Just Salad.
It's actually, it's right in Hell's Kitchen on 50th.
Is it still there?
I think it's still there. It's right next to the 50th CE station.
Wait, Just Salad during Fashion Week? That sounds like somewhere I've cried before. I really swear to God.
It was like, and it was also like girl on a budget. Like I knew that I could get like a good meal and it wasn't going to like cost me so much, but it was.
Miss Vicky's are really taking the edge off.
Miss Vicky's really like, I was like, wow, every night I'd go home and I'd have a bag of Miss Vicky's and I was like, this is it.
I love it. Wait, we have to taste test before we get started.
Taste test, absolutely.
Okay, here, I'm sure. Oh, that's a really good chip.
They're
There's a
really
lot of
crunchy
great ones
too.
in there. Yeah, these look like, are they kettle cooked?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
Amazing. Cheers.
Yay.
Your first ever Miss Vicky's. I am honored to be your first experience.
Thank you for putting me on.
Always.
This is amazing.
They know what they're doing.
This is really good. Okay, this is interesting too because in the ingredients, it's not like jalapeno flavor or jalapeno powder. It just says jalapeno peppers. So they're literally using like ground jalapeno peppers.
I actually have never knew that.
That's really cool.
But I'm not surprised. Like that's what I like. I love about their branding is just it's so like this is what it is.
Wait, they have a love our chips, give us a call on the back.
Do I?
We should
Miss
call them
Vicky's.
after this. Miss Vicky, we're gonna give you a buzz.
I'm gonna give you a buzz.
No,
Just be expecting the call. Actually, my next favorite flavor that I just discovered, and you can't find it anywhere in New York right now, is oh shit, what's it called? It's like the spicy dill pickle, and it sounds wild, but it's so good.
No, that sounds amazing.
So like this is number one, hands down. But then that's number two. I should have brought you a bag. I have 3 at home right now.
No, it's okay.
My mom shipped me them.
Honestly, dude, I would love to do a Miss Vicky sit down taste test of all of them.
Deal.
Let's give her a call.
Let's give Miss Vicky.
We need
call.
your collab chip. Where's your collab chip?
Yo, I would. Listen,
The bucket list is lengthy. It's stacking.
It's stacking up.
It's stacking. Okay, I would love to get into your personal story.
Let's do it.
Because I think people are really going to resonate with everything, you're bringing to the table today. So to go backwards real quick, tell me a little bit about your upbringing and what brought you to New York modeling. Like tell me from, childhood to now, like what was the trajectory for you?
Absolutely. I grew up in a super small town in Western Pennsylvania. I grew up 5 minutes from the Ohio border. So very small town. Honestly, when I was growing up there, didn't love it, but looking back now, it's a huge part of why I am the way I am, and I'm so thankful for that upbringing. I'm very close to my family. It's just me, my mom, my dad, and my little brother. My mom was the one who really just mainly got me through the modeling industry, so I'll touch more on that later, but I have like a lot of like really big like roots and just like my morals are all just based around my family. And that's always been kind of like stuck true to who I was, especially when I first came here to the city. And I had always, when I was younger, like loved dancing and performing in front of my family. And it's funny because I don't always love being center of attention, but like you put me in like a pretty dress and I was like, oh, watch out.
You're like, hold on.
I was like, this is about
hold
me.
Hold my beer.
Literally.
I'll hold my juice box.
hold my Capri Sun. And so like that was like kind of it. And I remember at a very young age, I found out about Victoria's Secret and I like started like loving that runway. And I said, I was like, like I want to be able to model like in some capacity. 14, I rolled around and I started to hit growth spurt. So I grew a foot in a year.
Whoa, a foot in a year?
It was insane. It was wait.
That's like not typical though, I feel like.
It was funny because I hit like probably like a 6 inch growth spurt, and then like I grew like probably like another it probably wasn't a full foot, maybe a little under a foot, but like
that's
basically
a huge jump in a year.
It was.
Oh my gosh.
It caused a lot of issues, which is actually funny because it's now tied into my career now. But
wow.
whole different storyline.
We'll yeah, for sure.
And I was like, oh, okay, like modeling, like I didn't know what my height was going to be, and so like I started to get really tall. I was just like. My whole body, like it was just weird, going from like being shorter to then all of a sudden you're a giraffe, like you don't know what to do with your body. So I was always just like very awkward. But I had still said, like I want to give it a try. I was sent to Pittsburgh for this like open casting call at an agency named Doherty. And there was a girl from my hometown who had also gone and gotten signed and was doing great. So I was like, yeah, let me just give it a shot. They signed me, but they told me I'll never work in Pittsburgh because I'm way too tall, because magazine stuff in Pittsburgh is like, it was always, you're going to be shorter, it's like, and there's probably not many 6'1", like 15-year-old girls, so it's like, I understood. And so my agent, Ebony, she actually was like, hey, I want to take you out to New York. Let's set up a trip. We're going to meet with as many agencies as we can. And then we'll go from there and like see if we get offers. And I was like, okay, great. I'd never been to the city. I'd really never left my hometown besides like Pittsburgh and Cleveland. And I came out, we flew out here for 2 days. I met with 13 agencies, and based on those meetings and like who offered me contracts, I picked to sign with State Management at the time. They weren't even actually state yet. They were just coming together as state, and they basically gave me like a contract on being like, this is how we're going to roll out. We want you to be a part of the first like presentation of models that we're going to have on our website. And that was just kind of where it started.
Wow, that's a wild one. Also, 14 meetings at that age. 14?
13, yeah.
13 meetings with agencies at 14?
I was 15 at the time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How was that experience for you coming from there? Because that's a lot. I mean, for people that haven't been in those spaces before, it's pretty intense. You're in a room full of adults that you don't know, and models probably too, like in that, agency in general. Like,
absolutely.
Were you intimidated walking in those rooms?
Absolutely. It was very interesting because I didn't cross as paths as much with like a bunch of models as I was thinking I would. But at 15, not really knowing who I am, like they're kind of expecting you to sell yourself, know? And
absolutely.
I'll never forget being told like, you need to go in and you need to sell yourself, show yourself. And I was like, I don't know who I am. I'm a 15-year-old girl who's still trying to figure out like my own body, and I just remember, I met with I can't remember the name now, but like a bigger agency at the time. Like I think Adriana Lima was signed with them. And I remember sitting down and like, they were telling me like, you're not this, you need this. Like, and it was just, I remember walking out and crying and being like, okay, like that was a reality shock. Like I need to kind of like get myself together a little bit. And so it was hard. It was a really big shift, but it was all thanks to my mom and my agent that like I was able to find an agency and state who my agents at the time, they were so amazing. They made me feel safe after going through meetings that like didn't feel that way, which is ultimately why I signed with them. So yeah, it was intense. Being 15, you don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, it's definitely an adult world and environment. They expect you to kind of assimilate to that.
Absolutely.
And age up in a way in those situations and
totally
like show up and perform very maturely. That's really, really interesting. How was it adjusting to being signed in New York? And were you commuting to New York for work and stuff?
So it was funny. So I actually, I signed with them, and basically what we had discussed, like as of like my first, because I had signed during my sophomore year of high school. So like junior and senior year, I was commuting back and forth. And so we had made a plan that I would come out for the casting season. So like the month before shows, and then I'd be here for the shows. And me and my mom, like I remember my first time coming out for Fashion Week, we stayed in Airbnb in Hell's Kitchen. My school was really like amazing, but they just like paused my schooling. And then when I would come back, I would have to like have a week of like lockdown where I'd catch up on everything. And then I would just jump right back into like school life, which was kind of weird because I was very thankful. Like I had my best friend Tori and like I had my people that were really like supportive, but it's hard and like kind of weird when like you're still trying to be a kid, but then also like having this really cool opportunity to go chase this dream. So, you know, it comes with ups and downs, like as you can imagine, but that was the weirdest part, was the commuting, like just trying to like, and I actually hated the city when I first came here.
Really?
Funny enough, I like hated how fast paced it was, because I grew up in a city of 14,000 people where like everyone knew my parents, everyone knew like me, like you just like, you know, everyone, you know, and like a lot of families there are generational. Like they grew up there, they stayed there, like that's what it was. And so it was kind of, it was very much shell shock, like just trying to get used to that transition. And it wasn't until like 2019 that I actually like fell in love with the city, but that's later. But yeah, so it was a really weird transition. Yeah, my mom lived with me for a lot of the time, like until I graduated high school and I moved out here on my own. My mom was always out here with me.
That's so nice though to have gotten to have her there with you. I mean,
I felt very lucky.
It's a tough, especially Fashion Week. For those that don't know, they're like the month building up to Fashion Week. Typically, there's a ton of castings, and you're essentially on this like sprint until shows start, and then you don't really know what you're booking until like the day before, typically.
Literally,
which is a lot. Also, I can imagine coming from there, you're pretty much just waiting on a call, and you're like anxious because you're like, I just came to New York and missed a month of school. Like, what's going on?
Exactly.
How was that adjustment to the culture and modeling? Because I can imagine too, at that age, much like many of us that were that young modeling, it's a lot on your psyche, and also like developing your perception of your body and relationship with food. Did it affect your relationship with food or your body at all? And how did that like progress as your career progressed?
Absolutely. It was very interesting because I feel like at that time too, you're just as a teenager, like you're going through puberty and you're trying to figure out your body like alone. And having hit a growth spurt, I was always the tallest. So like I was already kind of being made, it was always pointed out to me like, oh, I'm really thin and I'm really tall, right? And I'll never forget when I'm like, one of my mom's acquaintances had made a comment. She was like, oh, you need to eat a hamburger, like at 14. And I was like, or 15. I was like, I do. Like people just always having like, that was my first like experience of someone commenting on my body. And so that was hard, but I didn't think anything of it. And then you jump into modeling and you all of a sudden realize like, oh, your body is constantly on critique or display. And I didn't understand until much later, but like, that's because like you're kind of a hanger for the clothing. And like, that's not meant to be, I guess necessarily when they're saying it to you, it's not meant to be like a criticism, but I'll never forget a casting where I walked in and the woman was like, oh, well, like your hips are too wide and like this isn't good and your hair color is wrong. And like saying that right to your face at 15 and 16, you don't know how to compartmentalize that. You're like, and then I remember ever since then, like these things that were being told to me, I would then go home and just internalize. And I'm like, for years, I remember looking at myself in the mirror and hating what I was seeing, thinking the same things that those people would say to me about myself, you know? And so that changed the way like I just started to view my body, and body image started to really like struggle. And so I feel like that was the first immediate thing. And then the food relationship started to come a little later, where that really started to struggle. And it was really when I kept being told, you're still not thin enough. You need to lose your measurements. So I started to like cut things out of my diet that like I normally wouldn't have. And just to be like, what can I do to make myself thinner? What can I do to like to get this booking or whatever? And it did a toll on me. And I like, honestly, it wasn't until, and I mean, I say this to everyone, like when it comes to my coaching, I never make it about, people always ask for like nutrition and like nutrition help. And I do in some ways, but I never cross that line, because everyone's journey with our food and like our bodies is so different. And I don't want that to be the main focus, because I myself still struggle. Like I could have some time that's really easy and really good. And then I can go through times where I'm like, I'm really having a bad relationship again. Like it's not like an even.
Yeah. Like a linear.
Yeah. It's not a linear journey. Sure. And that was something that I don't think I was able to realize until I was into my later 20s. You know, I'm 26 now, and I feel like I'm just finally getting over some of that. And people, I guess, like outside of the industry don't realize, or like, I guess, put value in it, because they look at you and they're like, oh, well, you're modeling. Like, that's so amazing. Like, you shouldn't be, why are you having problems or struggling? Like, and I get it. Like, they don't if you're not in the industry, you don't get it. But it was really hard just because you pick up all of these things and you question why you're never good enough. And that changes you. Like, just chemically for so many years thinking that way, which is ended up being part of the reason why I ended up leaving.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting, because I think it's funny. People do look at you and say, oh, well, you got the stamp of approval by being brought into the industry and getting signed. Like, you got it, like you're in. So why are you complaining about your body, or why are you having these issues? And the truth is, like, people don't really realize you get into the industry and then the criticism really starts there.
Exactly.
And it's just you're getting rejected all the time. You have agents breathing down your neck about what you're eating and people that are unqualified telling you what to eat. It's a very bizarre space to be in.
Absolutely.
For sure. What other roses and thorns of the industry do you remember from your time modeling? Like, what were your favorite moments and what were your least favorite moments?
I think, oh, that's so funny thinking back on all of that. Some of my favorite moments were honestly like the people I got to meet. Like, I've always loved people. I've always been also, though, I'm very shy. Like, I'm an introvert. Doesn't really seem like it if you meet me at the gym or anything, or just like you hear us talking.
In your element.
In our element, exactly. Or with people that like I love dearly. But like, I'm very much an introvert. And so like being able to meet people, and it kind of did help me grow a little bit. Like I wouldn't change the fact that I went through the modeling industry and that everything that I've done, because it's made me who I am today. And I'm so thankful for that. And I never want people to think that I regret it, but I wish that there was things you would always want to change, or like wish that things weren't the way they were. But that being said, like, I'm so thankful for every person that I got to meet, I got to connect with. I've worked with some amazing creatives in the space. And it's funny because I've now realized like fashion and fitness work very closely. And I meet people now who know a photographer that I like used to work with and I loved. And it's like, that's probably some of the coolest things. And the places I was able to go that like I wouldn't have paid for on my own, you know, getting flown and being able to stay in Milan with an agency, and like the experiences that at such a young age I was able to have were probably some of the most amazing. And I'm always going to be thankful for that. The thorns, I think, were like, I remember going into a show and like having to change and drop like butt naked with like men around, like full grown people, cameras flashing backstage, like stuff that you don't like, you're not expecting to encounter when you're 16. And like, it just all kind of added to that, like just that self-consciousness and like just being you're just hyper aware of these situations that you're then put in. Yeah. And I think it made me a lot more, not hypercritical, but a lot more, I had to be a lot more aware of just interactions that I had, because not everyone is always out for your best intentions, which is sad. And like I was very lucky. My agents that I had when I was at State were all wonderful. I can't say like, I was very lucky to have a really great team, and it wasn't them, but it was just, you go out and like the nightlife of it all, and like the promoter scene, that all, it's the whole thing. Like it's that whole like side of it is definitely, I would say, the thorns of it. But sure. And the one other thing that was baffling to me is, so I always walk in a place and like, I just want to be friends. I'm like, I try to smile at people, you know, and especially in modeling, I thought like, I'm so naive, I guess, when it came to this, but like I'd walk in and be like, to a casting, there's like 500 girls, and I'd be like, oh my God, hi, how are you? And I'll never forget some of the looks that you'd get from girls who just like, and I was like, oh, okay. We don't want to be friends. Yeah. I was like,
word.
So that's when I met you. I was like, oh, this is my girl.
We were the same vibe. I feel like I think I learned that too at one point. I was like, oh, we're okay. So y'all see me, like, because technically you're in a room of people that are your competition.
Even though none of us look alike.
No, that's the joke. Like, it's a literal crapshoot. Like, whoever gets it. And it's not like, there's no logic. It's truly luck.
Yeah,
and I don't even know if I would call it luck. It's like,
it's whatever that person wants.
Yeah. And there's so many things that make the playing ground uneven, but that's a whole other conversation.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this space will definitely check even your people skills, because it's very contradictory. Like the way people navigate fashion and like try to network, and they like to one up each other very frequently.
Absolutely.
It's a very bizarre space for sure.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder too, so you went abroad, you did some work abroad, you came back. When you were shifting out of the industry, what was your experience stepping into fitness? Because that's a completely different world too. And like, what made you pivot to that?
So when I actually, right toward the end of my career, I played volleyball for like 8 or 9 years of my life. And before I pursued modeling, I was actually like toward the end of my high school career, I was really like, I did well with volleyball, and I was getting offers for college for volleyball. And, you know, I was like, I can either go that route that like I had originally intended for myself when I was younger, or I could do this thing that's a once in a lifetime chance that'll get me out of my hometown. And so that's why I did go with modeling. But I've always had a side of me that loved like the training and being an athlete and like that mindset, because that really was like what was home for me. And living alone and just really when you like, I didn't really go out and do much like in some of my earlier years or like my later years for modeling, because you're trying to save money. You're also not trying to go out and eat a lot. Like you're just trying to be like, I became very self-isolated. And my mom actually suggested it. My agency, funny enough, they had a discount with Equinox at the time. And there was one in Bryant Park, which at the time I was living in Hell's Kitchen was so easy. So I was like, oh, my mom was like, why don't we just get you a trainer? Start training, taking care of your body. I was like, okay, yeah, that works. And I went in and started training with my ex-trainer, and he became kind of like a mentor to me because I just got very curious, and I realized like, oh, it was the first time I was able to look at training and this other passion that I had years back as this could be a possibility of something else. Like I never looked at training as a career path, and not that it wasn't ever like an option, because obviously this is what I do now, but coming from my hometown, training wasn't really a career. Like we had physical therapists, but I never really met any trainers. So it was really cool to be in New York City and to meet people who do this for a living and they love it, you know? And so I trained with my trainer. He trained me for a year. And on our 1 year, I actually then applied to be a trainer at Equinox. And it kind of, working with him, it made me realize how little I was taking care of my body. And I actually came to him with a stress fracture in my shin because I was running every single day on the treadmill trying to lose weight. And I was not eating enough, under fueling, under resting, the whole 9 yards, just from the way that I was trying to perform with modeling. And he kind of just started to like open my eyes to a couple things and being like, oh, okay, like maybe I should know more about this. Maybe this will be good for me to just do this education to help myself. And then that just grew into then me getting brought on as an Equinox trainer. I worked there for 3 years and learned like kind of like everything from the ground up, because I did like my certifications. I went through everything, but it was a new career for me. So I learned a lot. I worked with a bunch of amazing people who taught me everything that I knew, and then left Equinox and moved on from there.
Wow. That's such a cool trajectory. What things did you clock from the modeling conditioning that you grew up with once you started training? What were the official, like whether it be food or fitness, like what things did you realize? I'm like, oh, that's actually not good for my body. Yeah.
Number one, like when it came to like the actual food behaviors, I didn't actually realize that my food behaviors were bad until probably 2 years into me being like I can't even say that, probably a year into me being a coach. And it's funny because what I would say to people was so different than what I did for myself. I would never tell people to I was telling them like the right thing. Like I'd be like, oh, like I know like people need this amount of protein. You should do this. This is how you should recover. Like I could tell them that, but for myself, I couldn't live that. Like it was hard to practice what I preached. And I started to learn a little slower on that end, that I was like, oh, I'm injured and I'm getting injured. I'm not fueling properly. And it came from more of like trial and error. I was overworking out like crazy. And that's still true. You see a lot of it in the industry that I'm in now, that everyone is like, I have to work out every single day. If I'm not making progress. I'm not doing enough. And I think there's so many different factors that go into that, right? But then kind of tying into that was, you're told you need to be skinny as possible. And the only information when you start looking up really is, I need to do cardio. It's like, I need to be on the cardio machine. That's
essentially what every quintessential model, like getting into fitness because their agent told them to do something, would do, is like run.
And also when you have no information on what else to do,
or
you're just
someone's telling you to just run,
right?
Which is also like a real thing.
Yeah. And it's like, there's so much now also being a coach. It's like, mechanics come into that, and like, can your body actually take that on like that kind of impact? And there's so many other like things that can go into it. But it's like, you used to see models, like when Instagram started to get big, you'd see models posting their workouts with trainers that was like kind of Pilates-esque, and then you would see them doing cardio. And so when I went like and transitioned over to being a coach, it was so baffling, because everything that I was learning was the complete antithesis of anything I had ever done. You know, like I was working out 5 to 6 days, maybe even 7 days a week, and thinking that still wasn't enough. I thought I needed to do 2 a day. Like I thought I needed to like burn myself into the ground, when your body doesn't need that. Like so much about fitness and making progress or doing what's right for your body is actually not even what happens in the gym. It's actually just everything outside of the gym. And like, yes, training is super important. Like you should be training and lifting, but it's your sleep, it's your recovery, it's your fueling in many different ways. And it's like your stress levels. And so it's like, that was probably the most interesting thing that I was like, oh, I have to relearn a lot.
Yeah, it was like you had to rewire everything that you'd been taught.
Absolutely.
Like you were taught restriction and then overloading cardio, which is that's like the most unsustainable foundation for anybody trying to take care of themselves.
And your cortisol is through the roof.
And you're also really tall, which I can imagine that was affecting your joints too in ways that you probably didn't realize. Like now being someone that's trying to get into running as a 6'1" person, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot do these like 6-mile runs that people do. I'm like, how do people like do this? But
a lot of it is like a conditioning thing, and a lot of it is like, I mean, this is something I will die on this hill. Like this is the one thing I will go to war over. But your body and your anatomy changes everything. This is why I put on my Instagram like I'm a 6 foot baby giraffe, right? Like the way I squat compared to someone who's 5'2" is going to be completely different. Not even just from the fact that their center of mass is smaller, they're closer to the ground, but I have long femurs. That makes me very hingy. I'm going to like bend over for like faster. I'm not going to be able to stay upright. Like I will literally fall on my ass. And when it comes to loading, or like if that like transitions over to running, the way that you're going to strike the ground is different. Like just there's so many things that like people just are like, oh, well, no, you should, like, that's an excuse. Like, you're just making that. It's like, no, there's actually things that being 6'1", like, that makes it difficult. That actually just, like, is another obstacle, or, like, that you have to navigate.
Right. Which is exactly what I learned when we started training together, because I walked in to Motive training with you totally blind to what I should be doing. Like, I mean, just to go through my journey really quickly, I had gone from I started where you were. I think years ago I was an athlete, like grew up playing soccer and had a pretty healthy relationship with fitness. Yeah. And then got into modeling. I think I had a pretty weird period where I was cool with everything. And then as I was phasing out of my first agency contract, I started getting into like really into yoga, really into hot bar, doing 2-a-days. And it's like subconsciously, also partially because I had the schedule too. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And not realizing the damage it was doing to my body. But also I was vegan. So then I'm like not taking in enough calories in order to maintain that type of fitness. And then gone through different trainer relationships. And then when I finally met you, one, I had somebody in front of me who was like, hey, anatomically speaking, like you need to make these adjustments because you really aren't supposed to be doing XYZ. Also, when you deadlift, you're not supposed to do you were saying things to me that I don't think people had the lived experience in my body to tell me. Yeah. And we just have we literally were like almost carbon copies of each other in that way. And I was like, whoa, it's so weird to look in a mirror and have someone tell me like what I'm supposed to actually do, which I've told you a bunch of times, but like you changed my perspective on fitness because you were able to give me those insights that I didn't know. And also we just bonded over all of our shared experiences, which is so great. But I would love to talk about your fitness philosophy because I think that's what really changed my mentality as well. Can you speak a little bit to your approach to fitness? And I know you speak to a lot of women in particular, but why there's such an emphasis on strength building and and also how that plays in with mobility and stress and all those things that you talk about.
Absolutely. So when it comes to my philosophy, it was something that I think I had to learn. You know, like when I first started as a coach, I didn't really I knew some of like the core values that I like had and that I was trying to learn, but I was also just trying to pick up information as much as I could. I was a sponge. And it wasn't until like I really found who I was as a person that I was able to really stand behind my own philosophy. And I think that it's really just celebrating your body. A lot of our industry, a lot of just society, and like when it comes to the fitness industry is so much about targeting people's insecurities. Whether that's what they say they're doing or not, there's so many quick fixes and there's so many things that are, you want to spot target fat like loss here or this. And it reminded me so much just of the modeling industry, you know, just all these things that were constantly telling you like, this is not good enough, or you should do this, or are you not happy with this? And for me, it was the thing that helped me heal myself, really, is like how I then realized how I wanted to communicate to other people was celebrating what my body could do. You know, like even if I wasn't at a good place mentally where I was able to look at myself in the mirror and be like, wow, I love what I see. I knew that if I went in the gym, I could celebrate these little wins. I could deadlift. This week I deadlifted a PR. You know, I hit like...
That's so awesome.
You know, it's like I hit like 185 for like however many reps or something. So cool. And like each week it started to just build this confidence in myself that, oh, like maybe it's not necessarily just about how I look. It's actually how this body that I've been given can carry me through life. And I was telling you about the women's night that I was just a part of with one of my clients. And she gave so many amazing data points about this exact conversation. And I wish I could reference them, but I don't know those.
Okay.
It really just kind of spoke to that. It's so much about, especially like when you have disordered eating or you're experiencing body image issues, it's redirecting that focus where that can be so detrimental just to, hey, I just want you to focus on how good you feel right now and what this does for how you feel in this moment. Focus on that. Think about that. And then let that kind of, because once you start to fill your cup that way, that starts to carry over. That starts to change the way that you're able to look at your body and be like, oh, wow, but like, look at what this body was able to do. Like you look into yourself in the mirror with a little bit more positivity. And so when I train people, I never want to comment on how their body looks. I never want them to think that it's about what their appearance is, because us as humans, and I think this is what I learned from modeling, is I'm so much more than just what you see. I'm so much more than just my height, my size, my weight, whatever, and I think that's something that our society doesn't celebrate enough. And I think over more recent years, body positivity has become a little bit more at the forefront, which I'm so thankful for. But that's something that like women, especially, we're always told, do cardio, be smaller, don't do this, don't lift weights. It's going to make you look like a man. And that's why I've been so passionate about helping women, is because weightlifting for women has now been proven to be so integral for like our hormone regulation, for like menopause. There's so many benefits, like just in that route. Like, there's so much more information now about why women should be lifting, not only just from like a mental standpoint, but like physical. And on top of it, it makes you feel safe in your body. Your body will thank you for it. Part of me also, like, I started lifting because I wanted to feel safe in the city. Like I wanted to feel safe as a woman walking around alone. And so that kind of is that, all of those things together, I kind of went on a tangent.
No, it's great.
Put the pieces together of what my approach are for people. And it's always going to be specific to the person, but that's how I approach everyone. Is I want them to tell me what you like. And it's okay if you have aesthetic goals. Like that's part of it. You want to look good and like see the progress that you're making because you're putting dedication towards your body, but not having that be our main driver,
100%. I think that's really cool that you don't emphasize that. I know when we trained together, I don't think you've ever really made a comment about my body unless it had to do with my strength, which I loved. And also building a relationship with strength training is so cool because your goals, if you start in a negative place, your goals, if you have a really good trainer who has good intentions and wants to really help you, not only physically, but mentally, your goals will shift like that. I think it's so cool that now I go to the gym and I used to catch myself like body checking. Like a lot of people do that. That's like really, you're in this space where you're obviously there to like make some sort of change. And most people do go for aesthetic reasons. Yeah. How do you navigate that conversation to kind of steer them in a sustainable direction?
Absolutely. I think it is, when it comes to like aesthetic goals, like there is usually more of an underlying reason. Like absolutely someone's going to want to come in and they're going to want to see those goals. And I think that's great because that is going to be their first driving determination. Like they're kind of their why of why they're showing up. But it's also, you can then start to have the conversations of, what this is actually doing for their body. And it's a more open discussion about other things that this is going to impact in their life, right? And it's almost a little bit of like a buy-in where like when they start to show up for themselves in that way. And yes, we're working on a progressive overloaded like program where like each week we're making these things, and you will start to see that progress fairly quickly. But you start to also see like, say they want to like lose 5 pounds, right? And we're working on like a full body program, but all of a sudden they're able to lift their cousin overhead or their baby overhead so much easier. And so it's these little things in their life that they start to just see the turnover, or subway stairs were easier this week. Mm-hmm. Those are the little pieces of buy-in that you can start to kind of just like have those conversations, and those just happen organically. Like it's like, oh, how was your day today? And it's like, oh, like I actually caught the train so much faster today and I feel like it's from our training, and it's these little realizations that people start to make on their own. And even whether or not they realize it, it's not necessarily trying to force someone to redirect their thoughts, but in just telling them like, wow, your body's so strong, look what you're able to do. You can start to kind of emphasize those things, and you can shift their brain and just like their focus a little bit to be like, yeah, we're working on losing that weight. Or like, I know you want to lose those 5 pounds, but also look at how freaking awesome that was that you just deadlifted that weight or pressed that weight. And week compared to this week, you got 2 reps more, like, so it's little things like that you can just start to, it's these little attainable goals that people are realizing that it's like climbing a ladder,
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel like when we look at goals, we think so big picture. And in order to get to someone to start to change their habits a little bit, you need to just help them zoom in a little bit and be like, cool, yes, love that big picture, but we're not going to get there that fast. We need to be focusing on the little things that we're doing now that'll get us there. And I think that's really the hardest thing, is getting people to realize like it's not fast, like progress takes time and you have to dedicate that to yourself. And so like if someone doesn't like end up training with me or like doesn't stay the course, like I never take that personally necessarily or like get mad at it, because we all are on our own journey, and we're all going to figure out what we need for ourselves. And that's sometimes just how that goes.
Yeah. And I feel like if you're getting really fast progress in fitness, there's probably a sign that something's out of whack and it's probably not that good for you.
Right.
I mean, some people's bodies do react really well to weight training. I can imagine. And
Absolutely.
You see results like that. But the truth is, like, people that want immediate results, it's just unsustainable.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about recovery, sleep, and stress with you,
Yeah.
and how that really affects training. Because I think a lot of people could walk in with one of those 3 things not in balance, and it could totally affect the performance.
Absolutely.
But can you explain a little bit how that works in conjunction with training with you?
Training is a stress on your body, right? And so when you look at your day to day, people don't think of it this way because we're all stressed, right? Like, living in New York City is a stressor. I fucking love this place, but it's a stressor.
Yeah, like,
and literally, but if someone is coming in having not slept or they had a really stressful meeting, they're like from like on a, like if your battery's at 100, usually their battery's already coming in at like a 20. And if I'm then going to go ahead and overload you with a ton of weight, that's going to actually do more harm, because when we lift and we put weight on your body, and that's why it's like slow progressive, like increments each week, you are breaking down tissue for your body then to be able to build back on top and recover, right? And a lot of people don't think of it that way. They think that they need to do the most, they need to be the most tired, the most sore to be able to make progress. When in actuality, that's actually the opposite. Like your body needs, number one, consistency. Our bodies love consistency. If we're not sleeping enough, if we're under so much stress, like your body is in a fight or flight state. So like that, number one, touches on your cortisol levels, that touches on your sleep, that touches on your fueling. Your body's not going to make any progress or change because it's just too worried about trying to keep you safe, right? And so when it comes to that stress management, I'm not like, if you're already run down, it doesn't make sense for me to run you down more, because all that's going to do is that's going to set you back, and that may end up injuring you. That may end up like you're going to be taking steps back when it comes to your progress, right? So it's a lot of it is, yes, we want you to work out. I tell people, I'm like, work out less. Do 2 to 3 times a week of just heavy lifting, or like a really like a intense 45-minute workout, but focus on getting quality sleep every night, like 8 hours minimum, and you're fueling enough, and you're bringing your stress levels down. Those changes outside of the gym will actually make the biggest change for you inside the gym, because we could do the same program, right? I could keep you on there, and our programs last about 12 weeks. Like our programs are the same for a long time, but we could do the exact same program. But if your stress levels are going up and down, you're going to see different peaks and valleys of where your progress is, right? Compared to if you're able to get consistent sleep and you're fueling your body with how it tells you. And yeah, say you're stressed here and there, but because you're prioritizing taking care of these other stress levels a little bit better, these other stressors in your life, your body will thank you so much more, and you'll still be able to see that progress a little bit better. It really is just all about like managing these different levels, or if you look at like a graph, these different lines of stress and where they sit, all of a roundabout way to say your stress, your recovery, your sleep, your fueling, that is going to be the biggest game changer for what compared to the gym.
Yeah.
If you're not giving your body the fuel, if you're not giving your body the sleep, you're not going to see any change. And that's not always what people want to hear, because that's an all the time thing. You have to think about that every single day. You have to make those constant changes every single day and be conscious about it, compared to if I only see you 2 hours out of like however many hours in the week there are. And are those 2 hours really going to make that much of a difference compared to the other changes and the other conscious choices you're making for yourself on your own?
Right. No,
So,
absolutely. It's easy to put all the emphasis on those 2 hours and be like, well, Lexa, I didn't see anything from this. So, and it's like, the truth is like, you weren't doing the work the rest of the week. And I feel like for me, one of the biggest adjustments I had to make since we started training was in taking enough food. One, I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a workout 8 a.m. or something, and I just like didn't eat before I went, and then I could walk out so like my body is in like pain, and I'm like, what did I just do? And it's like, obviously I didn't fuel myself to start. I set myself up a little bit.
Right.
What do you recommend, I guess, for people that want to like walk into training prepared? Like, how do you recommend hydrating, or like what do you like to eat before you go and do a big lift?
I think everyone, it's funny because this is such a person specific conversation too. Like, I know for myself, I don't love to feel stuffed before a workout, but I've worked with so many people who love to eat a meal like right before. You know, it's like really just a lot about like, you have to kind of get in tune with your body. And I think that's something that a lot of people, we don't necessarily think about. And like, that's kind of where it also comes back to sleep and your stress. It's like, you really have to get in tune with your habits and like with how you function and what feels best in your body. But like before a workout, I like to eat at least 2 hours ahead of time. That way, like, I feel digested. I'm also a stomach issue girly. So like me and my stomach are not always on the same side. Yeah. So like I try to do something that's pretty light, like something that's easily digestible for me. Like I love like a bowl of yogurt and like some fruit and then like maybe like a piece of toast, right? Like I'm getting enough carbs, I'm getting my protein, but I know that it's not gonna be heavy and greasy in my stomach. Whereas like from my husband, he can eat a bacon, egg, and cheese and then go crush a workout. And I'm like, how? You know, like, but it's just, everyone is so specific. Right. So it's really just being aware of like, cool, am I hitting protein and carbs before a workout? Am I just fueling my body well before I go in? And I'm awful with hydrating. We were the first to say it, but hydration is so important. It's like just making sure that you're, at least if it's an early morning workout, as long as you're getting 12 ounces of water in your body, like right to start the day, that's great. But it's really the hydration after that makes the biggest difference, because for every hour that you sweat, I think you need to drink an extra 36 ounces. Don't quote me on that, but you need to drink an extra on top of the amount of water you're supposed to drink daily, because you're supposed to drink your body weight in ounces water daily. And then if you work out and you lose sweat, you're supposed to drink even more. So it's like, that's something that also is so like, you don't think about that also plays into it. I'm a big fan though of Magna. Have you? I think I was telling you about this.
I tried it after training. It's
yes.
good. Yeah.
I like, and so like for me, because I'm not great at hydrating, I like to find ways that are going to like just help me a little bit. So like love electrolyte, love Magna, things that just are going to help me like with the water that I am drinking. What else can I get in my system that just helps me a little bit more along the way? So those are like my keys, is just putting something in your body that feels good for you. And that like, and then with hydration, same thing, just like making the most of what you're doing. I actually had a coworker, JP. Hi, JP.
Shout out, JP.
He kind of like, he said something to me that really stuck. And he was like, when he was talking about nutrition or everything, I was talking about like trying to get rid of things, or I need to cut this out. And like, I'm not doing this right, so I should get rid of it. And he said, I want you to stop. I want you to think, what can I add? Not what can I subtract? Keep everything the same, but what else can I add? And it spun my brain a little bit differently to be thinking of it differently. Like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm drinking a Coca-Cola a day. Now, instead of cutting that out, can I add an extra glass of water, and can that have Magna in it? So instead of, that's an easier way than, because when you start to restrict yourself in that way, it's that restrictive mindset.
Yeah, it's hard. You kind of like revert back to those behaviors, which are like, I mean, you're trying to combat that actively. I think that's a really great bit of advice for people listening. If you're trying to rebuild a positive relationship with food or fitness, like, don't think about subtracting so much. Think about adding in the food department and subtracting in the fitness department, but doing effective fitness in that department.
Absolutely.
I would definitely want to speak to that too. You know, since we started training, I usually won't talk about weight numbers on here, but I've gained probably 15 pounds training. People have this idea that if you are trying to lose weight, right? Like, let's say somebody is overweight at a certain amount and they want to lose a certain number of pounds. They walk in with this aesthetic goal that's very literal and not really measurable when you're training, because when you gain muscle, you're gaining weight technically. Yeah. And I think that people should, one, probably stop weighing themselves altogether and just work with a professional and focus on, very real substantial, attainable fitness goals instead of creating these rules. But I think there's this idea, especially for women, that if you lift weights, you're going to become a bodybuilder. and be juiced and can win an award at a lifting competition. Like, could you just debunk that right now on the podcast?
Absolutely.
Like, will that turn you into the ultimate The Rock? Like, will you become The Rock if you start lifting weights as a woman?
Absolutely not. We're going to debunk it right here. And it's the biggest thing in the, like, especially for women, you're not going to get bulky from lifting weights. If anything, lifting weights will create recomposition in your body and turn fat to muscle, which is actually smaller. Like, that's the biggest thing. Yes, muscle weighs a lot, but you're actually going to see, like, toning, that's building muscle, you know, like being bulky. I worked with bodybuilders. It is so hard to be bulky. The amount of calories you have to intake, it's not just on accident, right? Like,
no, it's not like your appetite increased because you started lifting and you're just intuitively eating. Like, you would have to make a conscious effort
absolutely
to eat such large quantities. Like, yes. You'd feel like your stomach's going to explode.
Absolutely. Like, exactly that. Like, the idea that if I lift a 45-pound bell, oh my God, my legs are going to explode, I'm going to look like I'm ready to walk on stage, is farther from the truth. But that's also something that society created, you know, that's something that still goes back to, I need to do cardio all the time. I need to make myself as little as possible. When in reality, like, strength training is going to get you the look you always wanted, but there's just so much miscommunication around it, you know? And like, when it comes to, like you had said, like, and thank you for sharing like those numbers with the world, because that's something that a lot of people, we almost like keep hyper focusing on the scale because it's something that we think we can control. Mm-hmm. When in reality, it's like, it's not telling you the whole story. You know, it's not telling you like how much muscle mass you have, that maybe you are creating a recomposition of turning fat to muscle mass. We're made so much of water too, you know, like our water weight fluctuates. So it's like, there's so much more than just what that scale is telling you. And it's lying to you, you know? 100%. And so you can't get bulky from lifting weights.
Yeah. It's funny because I didn't even clock that until I went to the doctor. Because I really, when I left modeling, decided to make a conscious effort to not weigh myself, because that's just like a slippery slope. I think a lot of people on the podcast can definitely relate to that. But it's really cool because I think now I have such a passion for people learning what you're teaching, which is women. It's not only just about, okay, if you want to have aesthetic goals, it's not to demonize aesthetic goals, right? It's like you said before, it's to say you should be creating habits and fitness that are not only helping you work towards those goals in some capacity. Let's not get like overboard here, right? But also like, this is helping my bone density. This is helping my muscle mass. This is helping me long-term. Like, if I continue this trajectory and this lifestyle for the rest of my life, like, like you said, the menopause stuff, the hormone effects. I mean, I have been probably the most emotionally stable I've been in over 5 years lifting. Yeah. Because there aren't as many like ebbs and flows. Mentally, I don't really show up to the gym dreading it. I don't show up feeling like I'm going to like hate this. I even started running coincidentally during this journey, which like I don't run a ton. I run like 2 miles like once a week maybe. But that's really big for me. Like, it almost has made me want to pursue fitness in a different way. Yeah. So I think it's just a wonderful ripple effect. You're a huge part of mine. I think you're going to be a part of others with all the information you're spreading. So thank you.
No, I appreciate that.
Of course.
Just something to add to that before we move on as well. And I love that you said like just the way that you've approached it, and especially from a longevity standpoint, that's the biggest thing that I stress to people is you're not going to be able to work out 7 days a week for the rest of your life. You know, like, your fitness journey should be about what you can add that's going to be able to stick with you, and it's going to be a lifelong habit. It's another habit that you're just adding into your collection, you know? And it's like, that's going to be where you're then able to explore and just like keep adding to that collection of, oh my gosh, I love lifting weights, but wait, I love moving my body this way too. And just integrating that together, because when people try to jump into a fitness program where they're like, cool, I want to start with 4 days a week. It's like, no. Let's start with one. Mm-hmm. Once you've graduated doing one and you can do that consistently, then we can add. And I think that's really longevity. That's the key, you know? Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that.
No, of course. I want to jump into food with you.
Okay.
Also just kind of weaving in the diet culture element. A lot of people tend to go online and they're looking for model diet, model what I eat in a day, model workout, insert model, here's ab workout, this, that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure you have people come in who have much experience with it too. How do you navigate that diet culture space, especially like you have a lot of clients coming in, I can imagine that you can't really control what they're doing when they go home too, right? Like however they eat is up to them. Like they're autonomous adults. Like you can only guide them so much. what would you have to say to people listening who are coming from that space and are looking to rebuild a positive relationship with food and fitness, who may be misguided from that media?
We live in such a hard world because we are constantly having things pushed in our face that we're not necessarily looking to find. Like, for instance, like I couldn't tell you the amount of videos that I get of what I eat in a day. And it's probably one of my least favorite videos because like past experience, I guess. But it's one of those things that it's like, you're constantly taking in information that just make you question yourself. Right. And it's like, I don't know, like if you are actively seeking that out, that's totally fine. Like maybe for inspo and things, but it can be so detrimental to like the way you look at like what you need, or like, because we're constantly comparing. Right. And like, that's the thing that I think is the hardest about social media is like, when I was in modeling and when I got into like probably one of my worst headspaces, I had to go and unfollow almost everyone. I unfollowed every model, anyone that didn't. I realized that like I had to unfollow anyone that didn't make my headspace feel better, because
that's okay.
And that's okay. And like I feel like people don't know, like it's not that they don't know that, but it's okay to sometimes have to just put a barrier up. And like I realized that I needed to do this for me, and not that you have to go and follow anyone that does this what I eat in a day, but it can just be misleading, and it puts this idea in people's heads that you have to eat perfect every single day and you have to do these home cooked meals, because a lot of the time these people that are doing what I eat in a day work from home, don't have a strict schedule, they don't have like life responsibilities. Like I myself, I work crazy hours. Like my hours they're never consistent. Like the other day like I told you, I did 8 sessions, right? Yeah. So like I woke up, my first session was at 8 a.m. I had like maybe a few 20-minute gaps to like inhale like a couple pieces of food or whatever. Right. And like, I don't have the time to go home and make this like extravagant lunch where I'm going to hit all my like things, but it's realizing and like putting that in perspective, because that's the hardest thing with like social media is like it makes it seem like what you're doing is wrong when like you don't have the same setup that person does. You're not an influencer, right? So it's like first being able to put logic to that, but then it's taking a step back and being like, okay, like with this knowledge that I do have, I know that I need protein. And this is something like I'm not a registered dietitian or anything, or like, and I don't speak really much on nutrition with my clients. One of the things I do tell my clients always is pre and post lift, you need protein. Doesn't matter like when it is, just you need protein, because that's so important for building muscle and for just so many other functions in our body.
Recovery, everything.
We need carbs. And like this was something that I demonized for years, and I think it's still so demonized because we think it's going to make us bulky and it's going to make us fat, and that carbs are awful. Our body runs on sugar, and carbs are sugar. And like, so I know people that love like that do the keto, and some people's bodies don't do well with carbs, and that's fine. Like this is where it's like to each own person. But
like if you have health issues or something, you obviously know like things are
going to be different for you. But it's as long as you know, like when you're looking at fueling your body, am I getting carbs? Am I getting protein? Am I getting fats? And like as long as you're keeping those in mind and just being conscious, I feel like that's the way that I try to tell my people. I'm like, I don't want you to hyperanalyze it, because I was someone who I would spiral if I wasn't getting, like if I didn't feel like this was a good enough meal. Like I just then wouldn't end up really eating, because I was like, well, if I'm not getting it, then why am I even eating this or whatever, you know? And it's like sometimes when you work in Midtown, like you're not going to have a lot of options, you know? Yeah. So it's like when I worked at Equinox, we had like one spot that I knew I could go to that could be like I could get the best options like of what was around me. And so sometimes it's just like picking like, it's like making sure you're out of like lesser evils, like which was the lesser evil. Yeah.
And when you say that, you mean like getting the balance of macros that you want.
Yeah. Or like, cause like, and that's like, I don't like the whole macros thing either, because for me, that's still like, I don't like counting calories. That just starts to send me back down that spiral of when I was in my modeling days. Of course, yeah. So for me, how I look at it is, okay, am I like literally the only thing I think about is, am I getting at least 2 servings of protein in every meal? And like that's a thing for me that I can attach to, that I'm like, cool, as long as I'm doing that, everything else is just fine. Like it's just added like nutrition to my body. Like because protein is hard to get. Protein, like just protein it's a hard thing. Like it's really, especially if you don't just like a protein shake, but like my body also doesn't love doing more than 1 protein shake a day. So it's like, as long as I'm being conscious about trying to get a serving of protein in every snack or in every meal, that's like an easy way to just approach it. Cause it's really just making sure that I'm simplifying it the most for my brain. Like other people like love to think about their food. They're really foodies. Like they love the idea of the follow like what I eat in a day, but to me, that's more stress. Like that's stress in my brain that like I don't want to add into everything else I'm stressing about. So I just try to think of it like, I'm going to break this down as simple as possible. I know of these 8 restaurants that surround my work, what is going to give me the best protein, so I can pick between those each day. And that's something that like I'll talk with my clients about. I was like, hey, like just look at the menus, like whatever you can find that you enjoy the most, that's going to get you a good source of protein. Like even if it's like a just salad, like I talked about earlier, ask for an extra scoop of chicken.
Yeah.
You can still get what you want. Just prioritize that protein.
Right. I think that's good. It's like one North Star to have. That's really great. And
the other thing on the like what I eat in a day videos, everyone's body needs a different calorie count. And that's the problem is like, going back to comparing, people will look at what this influencer put together. This is what they eat in a day. And then they try to copy it, but they might be under fueling, which then leads to so many other problems just because they copy it verbatim, but you're not that person. You know, like you guys' bodies may be different. They have different needs. So that's also the hard part is like, it's not misinformation, but it still is misleading. And like, so that's kind of just adds into that like cycle. But anyways, that was the last thing I had to add.
No, thank you. It seems like the consensus is take advice from professionals in each field. Do as you wish with that. It can be simple. Like bringing it back to basics with fitness and food, I think is really important for people to see. And then on top of that, let yourself have fun. Yeah. Because like, hello, we are literally eating like all of Lexa's favorite snacks right now. And it's amazing because I think we both are coming from a place where like if we were doing this a decade ago, we would have a completely different mental reaction.
Absolutely. I would not be able to sit here and have a Coca-Cola and like talk with you and eat my favorite chips. Like we would
be thinking about it.
I would be thinking about it, but like I would only let myself have that like once a year maybe.
It's crazy.
You know?
Meanwhile, every time I see you, we're like, did you try this? Did you do this?
It's like, hey, so actually I'm going to go get like this smoothie today. Or like I already had 3 of these like Coca-Cola bottles. Or hey, I want to go grab a burger. This is...
It's intuitive eating. It's so great. I think it's amazing that you, well, one, obviously I adore you because you're amazing and I love you. But I really love that you've been like so open about sharing your experience from coming from like a really toxic place with, you know, really the industry we grew up in and, you know, restrictive eating and just like hyper fitness. I think it's really amazing that you were able to move into this space and bring a lot of people with you. I think like you're a wonderful role model for models and role models alike to look to for advice. So thank you for all of this. This has been
thank you.
Amazing. Lexa, quick rapid fire for you before we go.
Great.
All right, here we go. Diet or regular Coke?
Oh, regular Coke.
Favorite protein bar?
Ooh, I don't have one, but if I had to, probably Bear Bells.
Favorite protein shake?
Buy a bar. Oh, I mean, that's not the problem. That's not like really a brand. It's a place in Soho, but
on Mulberry. Is it Mulberry?
Yeah, on Mulberry.
Yo,
but if I had to pick,
buy a bar on Mulberry.
If I had to pick like a regular brand, it'd probably like that one that's called Own. I think OWYN.
Only what you need.
Only what you need.
Owen.
Really like that.
Super
I'd pick that one.
I drink those all the time. I love them. Best bite in New York City.
Ooh, that's so hard. I literally had to. I've been racking my brain. Like, okay, so when you say best bite, what's
your best bite? Like, what's your fave bite? You can say fave.
I have so many different places that like I love for so many different reasons. But if I was just gonna go for like a quick bite in like the Soho area, I would probably say Shoo Shoo. I love Shoo Shoo. I love it. It's the vibe. It's like you can get like a little dish, but then like not something that's like over the top, and then it can just like it's just enough. Or you can have an amazing huge meal, but you get to choose your own adventure.
Okay, Shoo Shoo. Shout out Shoo Shoo.
Shoo Shoo. Love you, Shoo Shoo. Nolita.
I love it. Sauna or ice bath?
Oh, hot take. Neither. I hate cold, and I hate sweating when I'm not moving. It makes me claustrophobic. So I would say neither, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably do a sauna.
Gotcha. Sneakers or barefoot training?
Oh, barefoot, except the Metcon 10. Those are the only shoes I will train in now, but I am a barefoot train only.
Nice. Morning or evening lift?
Morning, but not early morning. I used to do a 5:45 when I first started seeing my husband. Wild. But that was just to impress him. I'm like I'm an 11 a.m. girly. That is my sweet spot.
Sweet. Favorite restaurant? Oh, I guess you said different question. Different question.
Shout out. It's a really like, you're probably not going to, most people would not say this, but Galaxy Diner on West 46th Street and 9th Ave. I lived right next door to them for 4.5 years, and they have the best food on like just like everything. Like everything I've gotten from there, fantastic.
Oh.
So highly recommend if you're looking for a good diner, but they do everything amazingly.
That's a really, really good rack. Favorite bar in New York City?
Oh, like actual like bar just to go sit at?
Place to get a drink or hang out with the girls. Like,
oh, there's so many bars. One that I really enjoy, and it's kind of funny because it's like not like a normal like Crosby bar. I love Crosby. Crosby, like
at
the
Crosby
hotel.
Yeah, I love that bar.
That bar is probably one of my favorites, just from like it's such a fun vibe in there, but also like you can see some like fun people and like it's just like it's always bustling around.
And
so
they have an outdoor seating area, like that little garden area. It's
and
cute.
like their like staff is so sweet.
Yeah,
so.
they're really
But also shoo shoo for the bar. So like shoo shoo and bar and Crosby Hotel.
That's a good rack. Cardio or weights?
Weights.
Counting macros or intuitive eating?
Intuitive eating.
That was a trick question. Rest day or active recovery?
Rest day.
Late night munchies?
Absolutely.
What are you eating?
Miss Vicky's, Coca-Cola most likely. Probably I think it's the True Fruit, or I do Fruit Riot. I have to have both savory and sweet, or like sour. So like a little bit of both, or 16 handles on occasion because I love me some frozen yogurt.
I like the Oreo topping.
I'm a brownie topping.
Oh, I can't with that texture. It's too
See? I love it. No, I love it.
Best song to get hype in the bunker?
Oh my God, I'm literally blanking right now. I can see it. It's like, it has this like really like whimsical look
to
it. It's so funny. It's not whimsical at all. It's like heavy.
House?
It's EDM.
Yeah.
I listen to EDM music. It's like it's basically everyone at work calls it my dungeon beats. So anything heavy EDM. I'm gonna circle back. I'll send you the picture of the song because Palm of Your Hands maybe that might be what it's called.
Sadie, fact check.
You can also find my Spotify and it'll be in my Spotify.
The Odd Mob remix
is yes. So it was Palm of Your Hands, right? Okay, yep, this song. This song gets me so, when the beat drops, so good.
We're going to do a video with you on Instagram for that. I love that.
I dance all the time in the basement. I could just make a blooper reel of me dancing.
It's perfect. All right, best snack, hands down, stuck on an island, lifetime supply. I know you've got a few here, but like which snack wins? What reigns supreme?
Miss Vicky's chips.
Miss Vicky's here first.
This is my ride or die.
Shout out Miss Vicky. She put in that work on this
She put in that work.
My God.
I love it.
Lexa, that's everything.
Oh my goodness.
I can't even thank you enough for coming on Model City.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me.
Oh my God, you're a beacon of knowledge. You are wonderful. I love you so much.
I love you more.
I'm so grateful to have you here. Where can people find you online and where can they train with you in New York?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find my Instagram. It's lexa.henwood. On Instagram, it's just me and my life, and I will post all the things I'm getting into if you want to tag along. You can find me at Motive and Why. We're at 199 Mott Street in Soho. I do classes. I do one-on-ones. You can come hang out with me and Pojo if you'd like. But yeah, that's where you can find me in real life or on the interwebs.
I obviously highly recommend training with Lexa and going to Motive. She runs a really great kettlebell class, so check it out.
Thank you.
You are such a role model. I hope everyone goes and follows you. Thank you for being here. I love you.
Thank you for having me. Love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, you know where to find us, models.that.e on Instagram and TikTok. You can also join our Patreon, which is patreon.com/models.e. If you want the extended cut with Lexa, make sure you check it out over there. In the meantime, go eat something delicious today. You deserve it. Ta-ta. Bye, guys.